Hello there, my name is Floor Galaxy, but you can call me Floor. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my phone collection as of October 2023. And finally, I have some more updates on the basic phones and the semi-smartphones. So, basic phones are phones that just call and text. They do literally nothing else. They just call and text. And maybe occasionally they'll have a few other things going on, but no connection to the internet, nothing of that sort. These are the semi-smartphones. These have that call text kind of stuff, but you can probably use them for other things as well. You have a 50-50 chance of them actually connecting to the internet properly. Well, no, I mean, depending on the country you live, that chance may be actually 0%, because they cut off all 3G signals in some countries. But, yeah. I don't know. Either way, these are a very awkward in-between of the basic phones and the smartphones, which have everything that you could possibly need, unless they're a 3G phone. Then in some countries 3G is not supported, so you can't really do much besides call and text. But these still successfully connect to Wi-Fi. Almost all of these. Because if it does not connect to Wi-Fi, it will be mentioned as an actual problem with the device, because it's not supposed to do that. So the services are still alive on it. But yeah, that's basically the short summary of what each of these categories mean. Without further ado, let's get started. First phone is the smallest phone, and also something really pretty. This is the Siemens SL55. I got this phone for free from a relative. In fact, most of these I got for free from a relative. If I don't say anything, then that means I did get it for free from a relative, because it would hurt my throat if I constantly said that. Anyway, this is extremely pretty. I love the red color. Sadly, this is about where it ends with this phone. This has a burnt screen, and it had a bloated battery before I took it out. And it's also pretty ugly on the back, because the back is plastic, just like the rest of this phone. And yeah, it probably doesn't work. And I'm not really excited to test this out. And that applies to an unfortunately large amount of these dumb phones. Sorry, basic phones. Anyways, next is the Samsung SGH-E820, and this has easily one of the worst sliders in the world. I'm sorry, this just... Ew. It feels like I'm touching grease every time. This is terrible. This is locked to TIM, which is an Italian carrier. Shout out to the guy who mentioned this in my comment section on, I believe, my phone lot, my $100 phone lot unboxing. I will mention their channel name in the description. So thank you very much to that person for telling me what carrier this was on. I was a little bit confused at first, because I thought that this was a Japanese carrier or a Korean carrier, since Samsung is a Korean company. But no, it was an Italian an Italian carrier, which makes sense, because apparently that same person traveled to Italy with another one of their phones. But I won't go too much into detail with that story, because I don't really want to. It would kind of invade their privacy. Anyway, next is the Samsung SGH F250. And yes, I know all of the smallest phones that I have on here are slider phones. Well, except this one, but do you really count that as a slider phone? I don't think you do. Anyway, this has a white screen. It works otherwise, but yeah, that's the main problem with it. It has a snapped ribbon cable, which is what causes the screen to be white. And this is really cool looking too, which makes me even sadder. Come on, why did this one have to go? Why couldn't something I don't know. I mean, I don't want to point fingers because all of these are pretty cool. I mean, something like this that already has gone, or something like these two, because these two are not even good phones to begin with. But yeah, we'll get into that issue later. Next, we have Samsung SGH-E820. This works perfectly fine. Oops, sorry. This is on Vodafone, and it doesn't have a SIM card, but I don't care enough to put a SIM card into this. And yes, I took the battery from this one and put it into this. Okay, next is the Sony Ericsson T230, which I maybe could have tested, but I just completely forgot about this phone because it's not only ugly, but it's also tiny. The keypads are a pain to use, and look at this, it's just like a boring gray slate with like the occasional blue. Of course I'm gonna forget about it in a bag full of interesting looking phones. So I forgot to test it even though I might actually have the correct battery for this. But we'll see. We'll see really soon. Anyways, next phone. This is a Huawei U1000 on DG Mobile. This works perfectly fine. It has a really cool light-up keyboard, as you'll see. Oops. See? Really cool. Next is a Nokia 130. Oops. Nokia 130. This is unlocked. I mean, obviously, if I don't say which carrier your phone has, then it is unlocked. I live in Europe, which is exactly why a lot of these are unlocked. Anyway, sorry, that was a little bit of a ramble. Oops. This phone fully works. There's nothing wrong with it, but I do have to take out the battery in order to turn on another phone. Oops. Oh dear. I'll be right. Okay, there we go. That took a little while. And oops. This is a Nokia 1112. This is locked to orange. This works perfectly fine, and I legitimately like it. In fact, I played the games on this one because they're quite unique. Nice. In fact, I'd say that this phone, this extremely old phone, I don't even know from when it is, but this phone has not only like such a cool backlight, both on the keyboard and on the screen. Look at that. That is such a beautiful purple shade. But also the games on this one are legitimately unique for such an old device. And of course, that also means that I enjoyed playing these games by far the most. Well, out of the basic phones. Out of the semi-smartphones, that's another competition entirely. But hey, this thing is still really good, especially for how old it is. Next is a Nokia 1662. I've already went over this in my last video. This is completely dead. Next up is a luxury phone. This is the Nokia 8800. This is in poor condition. But, okay, sorry, besides that, this is not only like one of the coolest phones that I've ever seen. This one literally has stainless steel in its build. This is super cool. It has a unique startup sound. This is the only phone that has that startup sound. And I did show it in my last video with the free phone lot. Sadly, I can't show it today because the phone had a bloated battery and I had to throw that battery out in order to make sure that everyone stays safe in this house. But yeah, this is an incredibly cool phone and I'm so lucky to have this. So yeah, I got this from a free phone lot. I got this from a cleanup, a very specific cleanup. This was the 2017 cleanup, I believe. I was at home with my parents and we just started cleaning and we started noticing that we have a lot of phones in we had a lot of phones that we just did not use for some reason. And I found this one in that same cleanup, as well as a few others that you'll see later. This was in the lot, this was in the $100 phone lot, as well as this Samsung SGH-E820V. These were both featured in that $100 phone lot. It was a lot of 11 phones. And this was featured in the free phone lot, as I said before. You'll see a couple of phones that were also featured there. Next up is a Nokia 2630, and yes, this was also featured in the free phone lot. This has a really weirdly broken display, because not only is it cracked, as you can see here, but it also has a bunch of lines on it, which is never a good sign. But yeah, like, it both has a cracked display in the same way that an OLED display would have, but it also has these weird lines in the same way that an LCD would have, which is extremely odd. I don't understand how this one has both. But yeah, it is really unfortunate that this does not work. It legitimately looked like a cool phone. Next up, we have two Nokia 100s. This I got for free from a relative, while this was in the free phone lot. So I guess both of these were free. And good thing that they work, because they both suck. They both have the same stupid demo. It is incredibly broken on both of them. Really poor incredibly poor Romanian translation on this one, because I got this phone in Romania. And oh my God, this is such a pain. This is, both of these are a pain in the butt to use, because just because they don't have a SIM card. This doesn't even have a battery, and this has a dead battery. Like, both of these are terrible, terrible devices if you don't have a SIM card. And even if you do, they're not good phones. So yeah, don't get the Nokia 100. That's my short thing. Like, you won't experience any bit of nostalgia, even if you did originally have one of these. Like, you will just experience pain, a lot of pain. Anyway, next phone is Samsung SGH-C100. Unfortunately, this is still untested because the charger that I was supposed to get for this and for this was delayed. So that really sucks. Also, this one has some really weird things showing up on the screen. I forgot to mention that. When it's in this position, you can see the image on about this part of the screen, which is the large part of the screen. But this part at the top is white, and then there are a few stripes of the image in that white space. So this is a really odd way of showing an image, and then when you slide it fully, it's just completely white, nothing is visible. So yeah, this is a really odd issue. I did not expect this one to have that particular issue. I expected it to just not show anything at all because the ribbon cable is not covered properly. But it does show something, and that something is really odd. Anyway, next phone is the Mitsubishi Dream Cosmo. This is still untested because I unfortunately did not have enough time for testing this one properly. Which is really sad, I know, but still. It's also not the oldest phone in my collection anymore. That goes to this one, which we'll talk about later. This is about as old as this, by the way. This is a Siemens C35, and it is from the year 2000. So from the same year as this Mitsubishi Dream Cosmo. It's also a lot thicker for some reason. This does work, but it needs a charger. But yeah, I got this Samsung SGH-C100 in the $100 phone lot. Ironic because it's, it's 100 everywhere. Anyway, next is this Motorola Graphite. This is the oldest phone in my collection. This is from 1997. This is a really cool and really expensive phone too. It even has its case, which I only use to protect it, because the case looks extremely ugly and it's a pain to get off. And I will put it back in its case after this video ends. Yes, this does work. Yes, it also needs a charger. I got these two from the same person. Okay, next up, the semi-smartphones. So the first one is this Nokia 2680. This was kind of conflicting. So I believe that this is supposed to be like a sort of low-end phone, but not exactly. Oops. Let's unlock the keypad. Oops. Anyway, this thing. Oh, yeah, the back is suspiciously easy to remove. So even when we try to slide it from the back, it accidentally, yeah, it just accidentally peels off the back. But I will actually need to get the back off and the battery out of there because we need it for the next phone. This was, I believe, a fairly low-end device, but this is still really cool. Don't get me wrong. It's just that the phone next to it is a much cooler device. I got both of these from the free phone lot, so that should explain something. Next is a Nokia 6500S. This is locked to orange. And yeah, you can already tell that this is a much higher end phone. Like, just look at all of this. There is no way that this was supposed to be a lower end phone. And look at these animations. They are absolutely amazing, especially for the time, but even now. Like, this is still really, really good, really smooth animations. The display is also much higher resolution, and the games are a whole lot better than the games on the Nokia 2680. Because yes, surprisingly, despite the fact that this 2680 looks still sort of premium despite being a relatively low-end phone compared to the 6500S, it still unfortunately does not have the greatest games out there, and it has a very low resolution display. But it does have a really, really cool gray to black gradient on the front, which is so, so nice to see. It's such an eye pleaser. Anyway, next is the LG Beauty, also known as the LG KU990. This works perfectly fine. This is locked to orange, but it does have the orange SIM card. Unfortunately, the services for this one are dead. So you can't really use it for much other than calling and texting. And that is a real shame. Next is the Nokia 113. This fully works. The reason why I changed the category from basic phone to semi-smartphone on this one is because the requirements for it to be a smartphone is for a semi-smartphone is for it to have an app store, not necessarily a functional one, just for one to be there, and to have a browser. Well, I mean, or to have a browser, because it doesn't have to have both. But this one does have both. And unfortunately, the App Store is dead, as you could imagine. It actually has two app stores, so yeah, that makes it even weirder. And the browser is, as you guessed it, dead. Which is kind of why these are in the semi-smartphone category to begin with. It's not because they have buttons. Because, for example, some of these have touchscreens. Next up is a Samsung SGH-E820, which is basically the same thing, but it doesn't have an app store. This is really cool, though. It has a really nice light-up keyboard. And also, I just realized something incredibly nice about the Nokia 113 as well. This has some really nice-looking glossy buttons. And also, why does this have a crack? And I forgot to mention, but this Nokia 100 also has a crack. They are from different people, but still. This Nokia 113 was found in the 2017 cleanup. Okay, next up we have the Nokia E50. As you can see, it's in really rough condition, but it does work. This was from the free phone lot. It does work, but it takes a while to boot up, and it is in terrible condition. Like I don't think I need to say it anymore. I think you can already tell. And the thing is kind of a pain to operate. This is a joystick that you're supposed to use. This is again a real pain to operate with one hand, but even with two, it's not that easy. And yeah, it's just not one of my favorites. I mean, it's pretty nice. And also, guess what the button that you need to use in order to get to the menu is. And also, this looks an awful lot like Windows Mobile, so I'm not sure if it does have that or not. Either way, this is a really, really nice and clean looking interface. Unfortunately, it comes at the cost of how easy it is to use. It took me like an entire day to figure out that this was supposed to be the menu button. Although it doesn't really help the fact that this button, the C button, was screwed up. Anyway, yeah, it does work. So, I guess that's nice. Next up is the Samsung Omnia. I tested it with another phone, and sadly the battery does not work. So I will try to find a better battery for this one, and when I do find a better battery, I will tell you guys. And hopefully the phone works, and it's not just completely dead. I got this in the lot, I got this in the $100 phone lot. Okay. Next up I have two Nokia C3s. They were both from the free phone lot. This purple one, I believe it's a regional version. I don't know from where it is though because of these two keys. This has a Cosmote SIM card, even though it is unlocked. But yeah, the problem with this one is that, I mean, it doesn't really have much of a problem outside of the fact that the Cosmote SIM card is dead because Cosmote has been taken over by T-Mobile. So yeah, that sucks. Sorry, people were screaming in the other room, and I was pretty angry about that. Don't worry, we're back now. The other Nokia C3 is in very, very nice condition. This is a gold one. And this was actually supposed to be like a limited edition violet one, even though I'd consider it lavender. But that limited edition did not fare well. Look at this. Look at how much it chipped off, and now it looks like these are scratches. So yeah, I don't know. This has been completely reset. I mean, by me. It was not reset before, and it had a wallpaper with someone's face on it, which is why I reset it. I did not reset this one because I didn't really care. But I mean, if it had a similar issue, then I would have definitely reset it. Even right now, it is in English. I did not set the language to English. This had the default language to like a foreign language. So yeah, this is the international version. I don't know which version this one was because it has these two letters and I don't know. Either way, both of these work. They're pretty good phones, and they both have the game of my childhood. Well, not the game, because there are more games that are part of my childhood, but like the only game from a semi-smartphone that is part of my childhood. Bounce Tales. This is such a cute character, and this is such a good game. And this actually has Bounce Tales completed on it. This, obviously because it's reset, does not have it completed, and because I'm rusty as heck on that game. But hey, it was really nice to see that. Something really sad though is this. This is a Nokia E52. I would have loved this device. Unfortunately, it does not work. It is completely dead. It vibrates and that's it. And it doesn't even have a battery, so I don't know why I would ever bother getting a battery for this one. Anyway, those were the semi-smartphones. Let's get into the smartphones now. First up, we have a Sony Xperia E. This is running Android 4.1.1. It has 4 gigabytes of storage, and I got this from the $100 phone lot. By the way, I got the Nokia E52 from the free phone lot. Just thought I'd mention that. Next up, We have a Samsung Galaxy Trend. I got this from the free phone lot. Unfortunately, it does not work. It vibrates and that's it. But the display is in perfect condition, so if I do find a Galaxy Trend with a broken display, I will swap the displays. But yeah, until then it will probably be a very, very long time, and this thing will probably get destroyed, I don't know. I mean, not by me, but maybe by me, I don't know. We'll see what I'll see what I do with this. I will keep it for now, just in case I see one with a broken display that needs this. But still, it is not something that I'm particularly keen on keeping. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy S2 This is running Android 4.0.4. It has 4 GB of storage, and and the reason why it can power on now is because I got the battery from the Galaxy Trend into this phone. So yeah, at least that was useful. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy S2 2. This is running Android 4.2.2, and it has, I believe, 4 GB of storage as well. Both of these work perfectly fine, but this white S2 is Google locked. So that really sucks. Next up, we have a Galaxy Ace Style. This is running Android 4.4.2, and I would have expected this to work, but unfortunately the Google Play Store is completely broken. So yeah. Also, this one, the battery on this one dies really, really quickly, which is just disturbing. Like, it just intentionally dies that quickly, I think. Like, it never charges correctly, that's my point. It always dies immediately. So that's another issue with this S2. Although I'm not sure if it's an issue, although I think that might also be an issue for the battery on the Galaxy Trend, but I'm not sure. This one also, this Ace Style also has a terrible, terrible battery. I got both of these two in the $100 phone lot, and this Galaxy Ace Style is locked to Vodafone. And I believe the Sony Xperia E is also locked to Vodafone, but I'm not sure. Next up, we have a Samsung Galaxy S Plus. This fully works, but unfortunately, it is dead. I could not charge this one. This also has a bunch of issues, like for example, the speaker and the camera are both filled with sand, so it sounds awful and it takes awful pictures. And and a lot of services on this one are dead, even though they shouldn't be. So this is like an actual defect with this phone. Like, this phone in particular has issues. It still powers on and plays the games that I did install on it, but it does have a lot of things that need to be solved. Okay, next phone is the LG Optimus Soul. This does not work, it boot loops. But I guess enjoy seeing the LG screen for, like, I don't know how many minutes straight, because that's all you'll see on this one. Unknown Android version, but it does have 2 GB of storage. Also, this Galaxy S Plus has 4 GB of storage. This LG phone was in the $100 phone lot. Anyways, next up we have two ZT-E820s, but I got them from different places. And they have different working states. So, this one was from free from a relative. Unfortunately, this does not work fully. This has a defective Wi-Fi and all of the services that come with that. Next up is this one. I got this in the 2017 cleanup and it completely worked. Sorry, I ran out of storage mid-recording, and as a result I did have to delete a giant file off my phone. Anyway, about this ZTE Blade A410. They're both locked to orange, they're both running Android 5.1.1, and they're both nifty, I guess. they're not terrible devices like you might expect. Even though they are cheap, they are still decent. And even though this one is in like terrible condition, this has a screwed up power button. Well, not completely because it does work, but it does require harder pressing. A screwed up volume rocker, again, it's not completely, it's just in really bad condition. And scratched screen, no screen protector, scratched the back, scratched sides, you know, not in the best of condition, but at least it does work. This one is in really good condition, but despite that, it has a problem with the Wi-Fi. So maybe if I swap the boards, I get a ZTE Blade A410 that both is in good condition and works perfectly fine. But why would I even bother? This is not worth much. And it's like, I could possibly risk bricking both of these. So that's not really worth it. Anyway, next phone is a Samsung Galaxy J1. I mean, 3 Galaxy J1s. The first one does not work. It is unlock, I believe. I don't know the Android version on this one, so unknown Android version, probably 8 gigabytes of storage. Again, probably. Next up, we have an unlocked Galaxy J1, Android 4.4.4, 8 gigabytes of storage. Next up, we have a Galaxy J1 on T-Mobile, also running Android 4.4.4 and also having 8 gigabytes of storage. This one has a worse battery than the white one for some reason, which is really odd. I did not expect that. Also, I might need to take out the battery of out of this one for a little bit, but I will put it back into this because it actually fits in this one properly. Okay. You'll see immediately why. Okay, next phone is an LG K4. This is running Android 5.1.1 and it has 8 gigabytes of storage. It works beautifully. Next up is an all-view V1 Viper. Look at that, look at that. First of all, just look at the clear bezels on this thing. This is so beautiful. And second of all, this works beautifully as well. This is running Android 4.2.1 and it has 4 gigabytes of storage. Next up is a Samsung Galaxy S3. And this is the phone that I needed the battery for. This is locked to T-Mobile. And it doesn't fully work, unfortunately. It does have an issue with the Wi-Fi. But I did want to show you guys to see it booting up. Just so you can see that it works, but it doesn't have a battery. Because the original battery was actually bloated. And obviously the battery does not fit perfectly in this one, so we'll be putting it back into the Galaxy Ace style. I got this in the $100 phone lot, and I got this LG K4 for my birthday, along with 2 other phones that I'll mention later on in this video. Sorry, I was in a bit of a rush to do something. Anyways, now I'm back and filming. So, even though this was technically free for me, in terms of how much money it actually cost, it cost about $55 or... No, it was more. I think it was about... $75. Yeah, around that price. It was $75 the entire lot. But I did get it for free. My parents paid the $75 for the birthday phone lot. Anyway, so thank you to them. Next phone is this Samsung Galaxy S4. I got this in the 2017 cleanup. This is running Android 5.1.1. It has 16 gigabytes of storage. But unfortunately, it has a broken OLED. Next up, we have the Samsung Galaxy S4 Black Edition. It is running Android 5.0.1. It has 16 gigabytes of storage, and I got this one separately entirely for $32 on OLX. The reason why I purchased this Galaxy S4 separately, specifically, is just because I really, really wanted an S4 to fix my S4, but then I actually liked this one more than this one anyway, so I ended up not fixing it. So that was kind of awkward, but hey, at least I have an S4 that works. Okay, next is this Samsung Galaxy J2. This was also in the $100 phone lot. It does not work. The screen cracking was my fault. I know it's a really odd way of cracking it, but let me explain how I managed to crack it. So I was trying to get the screen out in order to open the board to see what was wrong with it. Spoiler alert, there was plenty wrong with it. And when I tried to get the screen out, I accidentally put the screen on my knee and I bent it and it cracked in the shape of my knee. Like you can see that. I mean, obviously my knee is larger than this, but still, it's pretty close. And then there were spider webs around here, and then when I tried to pull the screen out, it cracked even more. So yeah, this was a really, really awkward process. This does not work, sadly. But it is like a cool prop to have, I guess. Next phone is the Samsung Galaxy J5. This fully works. It's on Android 6.0.1. It has 8 gigabytes of storage. It has a 16 gigabyte micro SD card if you ever need one. But it is absolutely shattered. It is really unstable, and the storage fills up really quickly. This J5 is the exact same, except for the fact that it is more stable, it is not shattered, but it also doesn't have the micro SD card. Which was actually a creative way to make sure that this one doesn't fill up too quickly. Okay, next we have a Samsung Galaxy J3 2017. I mean, you would look at it and think that it does not work, but it absolutely does, trust me. You just saw it booting up right now. This display is completely functional. I believe it's an LCD, but I'm not sure. Anyway, that's not what's important right now. Something that is wrong with this is the power button is like this, so it can escape from the phone, but it's not particularly easy to do, as you can see right here. You really have you have to intentionally take it out in order for it to be taken off. And this has a really, really solid battery. I don't know how this one has it, but it really does. It's also really laggy though. Well, sometimes anyway. But that is really just because this phone is old and because it's locked to Vodafone. Okay. Next up we have a Galaxy A5 in mint condition. Please ignore the screen protector that is absolutely cracked to heck. This is running Android 7.0, so that means it's running really quickly. And it has 16 gigs of storage. And this one also is running Android 7.0 and has 16 gigs of storage. I think I forgot to mention that. It works, again, as I said, beautifully. Next we have this other Galaxy A5 2016. Not only is it certainly cracked, like it's not in nearly as good of a condition. It is cracked on the front and cracked on the back. And like, oh my god, it has developed more cracks. This is not good. But another thing, this is running Android 7.1.1, which also means that it's laggy as all heck. Okay, next up we have the HTC One M9. This I got from, I got this one in the birthday lot, and this thing is like both the best phone that I've ever had and the worst phone I've ever had. So the best phone is because it's an HTC phone, and it's because this is running Android 7.0, 32 gigs of storage, really, really nice. It has a really nice metal body. However, however, it does also have a lot of disadvantages, such as a really crappy battery and sadly crappy speakers. I expected them to be very good, but they were not at all. You could barely hear anything. Although I'm assuming these speakers are defective. I don't know for sure. The camera lens is also cracked. It's in rough condition, especially on the frame. It's literally bent. So that should show you about what condition it is. It unfortunately does not have a startup sound, so that's even sadder. This is on Verizon. So yeah, I guess that's why. This also overheats very quickly. So like it's at an alarming rate, and yeah, you just saw how quickly the battery runs out of this. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's a decent phone, but it does have some issues, like a lot of issues. Anyway, I think that this one has a similar issue to the LG G4, where if you keep it shut down, it actually drains a lot faster, but it doesn't completely crash like the G4 does. So, I mean, that's a benefit. This battery is a little bit more stable, but it's still not very stable. Next up is the Huawei Wi-Fi 2018, and this actually works beautifully now. So this is running Android 8.1. It has 32 gigabytes of storage. No, sorry, it has 8 gigabytes of, no, 16 gigabytes of storage. How did I get it wrong twice? Anyway, this is now running beautifully. I expected this to be laggy as heck, but after I don't know how many months after getting it, finally, this works properly. It is such a good phone now. Obviously, except the speaker. The speaker still has a lot of issues, but that would need a new speaker anyway. But yeah, this is really, really good now. Next up, we have Galaxy A20e. Sadly, this still hasn't been fixed. This has a broken LCD. I believe this is running Android 11 and it has 32 gigabytes of storage. Next up is the Allview P6 Life. I found this in the 2017 cleanup as well. So the sad thing about this one is that, like, I mean, obviously it's scratched to heck. The nice thing about, the sad thing is that it has 4 gigs of storage, so I can't install much on this. And also, it has a pretty bad battery, but not quite as bad as these two, where it's literally getting to the point where, like, it's unstable. It's an unstable battery. But this, like, it's a stable battery, it's just really bad. And, I mean, that would explain the fact that it's a 1,750 milliamp hour capacity, so not very good. Especially not on such a large phone. It's running Android 5.1.1, 4 gigabytes of storage, as I already said before, which is kind of concerning, if you will. But thankfully, it does work perfectly now. There's no issues with it. It's just not a very good phone. But it does have a lot of memories from my childhood, so I will appreciate it for that. Next up, we have the LG G4. Oops. Well, what did I just say? That this is, like, completely unstable when it comes to battery life. So this battery died midway, even though it was charged. Like, I literally charged this phone, but yeah, it still died anyway. This phone does work, aside from the unstable battery. Like, knowing the G4's history, I thought that it was the motherboard that did this stuff, but no, it's just a really, really unstable battery. It's, like, really, really bad. So, yeah, that sucks, but at least it works. And it's on Android 6.0, 32 gigs of storage, a crap ton of games installed on it, and it's actually not the only one. You'll see one more phone immediately after that has the same, no, like, as the same, not the same amount of games, but still has a lot of games installed on it. Okay, next we have this Galaxy Note 2. This is a disaster. I think that's pretty obvious though. So let's get on to the less obvious notes. This had a working board inside of it, but the display doesn't work, obviously. The board on this was running Android 4.4.2 with 16 gigabytes of storage. Speaking of which, that board is now inside this phone. This is another Samsung Galaxy Note 2, but this one is in gray. And it fully works. Oops. Sorry. I may need a longer fingernail for this job. Also, I really hope I did not break the power button on this one, because like it's not missing, it's just really stuck down. There we go. This fully works. It has that board with Android 4.4.2 and 16 gigabytes of storage on it now. And yes, it does have TikTok somehow. That's the unique thing about this one. It has TikTok on it. But like, jokes aside, this is really, really good. It works beautifully, exactly how it worked 5 years ago when I first got it. That is amazing. I just want to point it out. That is very rare to find. Also, I got this LG G4 in a lot of 2 phones. It was accidentally a lot of 2 phones. It was actually supposed to just be a $44 phone by itself. But I got this and this All-View V1 Viper as a gift with it, which is amazing. I got this phone for $12 in order to repair this gray Note 2. This actually had a broken board inside of it, which was filled with salt, even though I dunked it in tea, not in salt water. So that's really odd. But anyway, this works perfectly now. It has a slightly bad battery, but besides that, it's actually really, really good. It's exactly as good as I remember it, if not better actually, because it has TikTok in like a fully working version of TikTok. I'm not talking like it kind of works for an Android 4.4.2. No, like this is completely fully working. This is a phone that I could legitimately use to this day. Even though it is 11 years old, there is no reason why I wouldn't use this phone outside of it maybe being a little slow. Okay, next phone is the Samsung Galaxy J6. So, this phone, this phone's absolutely shattered to bits, but it does work. This one is the other one with a ton of games on it. This has less games than the LG G4, yes, but still, it still has a lot of games, I promise you. This is just running Android 10, and it has 32 gigabytes of storage, and just how does this work even? Anyway, next, we'll have to move up a bit. We have two S7 Edges, but they're extremely different in so many ways. So this first one is cracked, but you cannot exactly see it. And it has terrible, terrible screen burn-in that I think you might see from the pink tinge on the screen, just from the boot up and everything. And yeah, now I think you can see the cracks as well. Yep. Yeah, it's not in the best of condition. The back is in good condition though, which is surprising. I mean, it's not surprising because it's had a case on it. But I did expect it to have a bad. Where was that notification from? That's actually a legitimately nice sound. Anyway, yeah, this one works perfectly fine. This is running Android 8.1. Next up is this Galaxy S7 Edge. This is in mint condition. Literally nothing is wrong with it, and I keep this case on it specifically so nothing goes wrong with it. I have a box for this. This is like a boxed brand new phone. This is running Android 8.0, and obviously this is just that little bit snappier than this S7 Edge. This works so well. I just have to compliment it. I did not change the crappy notification sound, so I'm sorry for that. But you guys will be annoyed by the Samsung notification sound for a little bit. I am sorry about that. Oops. Okay, that was really clumsy of me. Why did I accidentally just knock over two phones? Anyway, it's not like those two phones were not like these phones are kind of tough anyway, so it's not like they wouldn't have survived. But still, better to be safe than sorry. Next, we have a Huawei Y6 2018. This works beautifully as well. This is running Android 8.0 as well, just like this S7 Edge, but this is a 16GB model. Either way, that's not a big deal. I actually got this one. This was my main phone at some point, so I paid full price for it. I paid the full $50 for it. Yeah, it was not that expensive. And same goes for this Note 2 that I got before the Huawei Y6 2018. I paid $50 for each. And they both, no, this one lasted a very, very long time, but this one lasted 1 month before I was an idiot and accidentally dropped it, well, semi-accidentally dropped it down the stairs from the first floor. And it's shattered so, it was both spectacular and horrifying to look at because the touchscreen was still working, so I could still use it, but I couldn't see anything. Okay, next up we have a Miria Grand. This is a sad one because actually I'll get a battery for this one too. Just because I'll get a battery for this, and I'll use this battery again. I don't know why. I don't know why I use this battery so much, but I guess I will use it again. So the issue with this one is that so this one actually had a bloated battery and it would not show anything on the screen originally. Thankfully I did get thankfully I did throw out that bloated battery. But even if I put a non-bloated one in it, you will see that it has a lot of issues. Let me see if it's connected properly, just so I know I can show you guys the issues with this thing. Yeah, unfortunately you will have to deal with some annoying sounds before I get to power this thing on. I think I should be able to power it on now. I'm not sure though. Nope. Still can't. I don't know why. I should have been able to power it on. Yeah, I think this is right. There we go. So the problem with this one is that, as you can see, it gets an Amiga screen. So it does have a working display somehow. And like there is something powering up in there. It's just that the board itself is kind of bricked. Or maybe it's not bricked and I just don't have the correct battery, and as a result that's why it doesn't fully boot up. But I don't know. Maybe that could be the case, considering that it didn't do anything with the bloated battery, so maybe it is just the wrong battery. But again, I don't know. For now it does not work, and since this is coming from a Romanian company, unfortunately there are next to no parts for it. And this is a really old phone as well, so that doesn't really make things any better. I got this S7 Edge in the birthday lot, and I got this S7 Edge for free from a relative. Okay, next phone is the Huawei Y6 2019. I got this in the $100 phone lot, and it works perfectly fine. This is running Android 9.0, and it has 32GB of storage. Next, we have a Galaxy A50. Unfortunately, this does not work at all whatsoever. So that sucks. This was running Android 11 as well, and it had 64GB of storage. But yeah, not anymore. Now it has 0 and 0. And finally, well, no, not finally, this is the second last phone. I made the same mistake twice in my phone collection. This is the Samsung Galaxy M11, and yes, I know, this is unbelievably shattered. And I got this from the same person that I got the Galaxy J3 from. I'll just say that much because they both have this stupidly shattered screen but somehow working. And also, they both have burned LCDs. So that's just, I don't know how this happened, but it did on both of them. Anyway, this one works as well. It is running Android 12 and it has 32 gigabytes of storage. And finally, the phone that I'm recording on right now is a Xiaomi 11T Pro. This is a 128 gigabyte phone with Android 13 installed, and I got this phone for since this is my main phone, and it's also the one that I use to record things. I have paid for it myself. I paid a stupidly high amount for this thing. I paid even more. I paid $512 just to get this Xiaomi 11T Pro. It is a great phone. Don't get me wrong. It is absolutely fantastic to use. But I still regret this purchase decision. I should have waited at least a little bit so it could cheap down to like $200. But yeah. I won't make that same mistake again when buying the next main phone. I will still buy a better phone than this one though, but I will buy it for cheaper. Now let's boot up everything. Let's unlock everything, well, at least everything that works. Okay. Wait, does this power down? Oh yeah, I think I forgot to boot it up, yeah. Huh. I thought I powered this one on, but no. Apparently not. Yeah, if you wanted any proof that this has a better battery than this. This drained 4%, this one drained 5%. Anyways, that was it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!